I finally felt like it was appropriate to talk about all the issues I have, and I think most people have, with Modern Warfare. I've been playing it a lot. I have over 2 days of playtime, and there are some glaring issues in this game. What do I think about it? I think it's actually pretty good and has potential to be a very solid release. Is it currently? No, I don't think it is. I'll start off with a very short list of things that I do like about the game right off the bat. I think the movement is pretty perfect how it is. It feels good when you are moving, that is. Sometimes it feels a little slow, but I think it is pretty good for the setting. I also think the guns are fun to use. I think there's a good variation. There's a ton of different attachments, all these different combos. I mean, the fact that we have like 20 different sights in the game for each gun is very cool in itself. I really like how they built out the customizable gun features of this game. I think that was a huge plus. Another huge thing is it's cross-platform, so hopefully on PC this game will stay alive a little bit longer. That's what I play on. I think the time to kill is actually pretty good. It is quite fast usually, but I think it's still in a place where it should be. The campaign was great. I absolutely love the campaign. It was probably one of the better campaigns in recent years. It was not a single complaint about the campaign. They absolutely killed it. I'm sure there's a couple other little features here and there that I like in the multiplayer side of things, but the fact that I can't think of them right off the top of my head would indicate that they're not that incredible. Now the main part of the video, what I don't like. Where do I begin? I'm going to focus on the biggest things in this video, and we're going to appropriately start with maps. You can see what we're playing right now, Euphrates Bridge, I believe. This map sucks. It's so bad in terms of just pure map design, how it plays, how it feels, what people do on it. It is terrible. Now, the game you're watching, I am on the team that's destroying and spawn camping the entire game. We absolutely destroy them with a double cap pretty much the entirety of the game, as that just happens on this map. You literally cannot even take B flag back most games if you're playing alone or even with maybe 1 or 2 other people and the rest of your team sucks. You will never touch B flag. You'll be spawn camped for 10 minutes straight, and that is how this map is played every single time. I have yet to have a game where I'm not either spawn camping or being spawn camped. There's no in between. And truthfully, that's how a lot of maps on this game are. This one is the shining example of how terrible you can make a map. It is simply too hard to get from one side to the other. It's simply too hard to even get to B most games. You spawn in Narnia, 200 meters behind your own home flag, and you have to run all the way across the map even to get to B, and then that is only halfway, and then you have to run the next bit to get to their flag or even close to their flag. It's just, and a lot of maps are like this. It is the exact same with Arklov, another 10v10 dom map. You spawn so far back. I made it a staple. If we get spawn trapped at a flag on Arklov within a couple minutes of the game starting, I leave the game because it is that bad. You will get pushed back 75 meters behind your home flag and you will continue to spawn there for the rest of the game. I've had entire 10-minute games where I am spawning in the exact same spot over and over and over again. There's no spawn outs, there's nothing. You are stuck there the entire game. The maps in this game blow ass. I can't even stress that enough. There's 1 or 2 maps that I actually think are decent. A lot of people say Hackney Yard's really good. It's not bad, but it's only good because it's small, I think. Other than that, people just hold the same corners. I don't even want to get into specifics, but it's not bad. And then the other one is Gunrunner. Gunrunner is great. I think that is my favorite map in the entire game. It's not that hard from either direction to take B back in domination. The map flows well. It's kind of one of these fake 3-lane maps. I'm stealing that from Crim6, who said this on Twitter, basically that the game needs more fake 3-way maps, and by that, he essentially means maps that are designed in a 3-way format, but then have ways where you can cut through to the other lanes. So it's kind of 3-lane, but there's also sections in between, doors, little areas that you can crawl through, little walkways that you can get to the other lanes freely. And I think that is a perfect example of that map. You can traverse it pretty well. They can't really completely spawn trap you. And actually in Dom, you're flipping back and forth from A to C quite frequently. And because you're doing that, then B's also being flipped quite frequently. I've had some very, very close games and some very good games, competitive-wise, on that map. I'm hoping in the future they start to release a bunch more maps closer to that size that feel way more like Call of Duty, the fake 3-lane style or even just a 3-lane style. I think that is perfect for the game, and it really limits the camping. When you give the losers that play this game including myself, a giant map to hide in, they're gonna hide in it. So it just becomes the slowest game you've ever seen, where people are holding a window for 8 straight minutes until they die, and then they go back to the window. It's especially obvious in Ground War, where people are completely content sitting on a 18-story building. Yes, let me say that again. 18-story building, and sniping for 15 straight minutes. And they will continue to snipe down at the ground unless you A, deal with them, but then when you're dealing with them, you're not able to go after objectives, or B, you ignore them and you continue to get shot by them because they're doing nothing else. I know they just released a Ground War map, and I've played it, and it doesn't have huge buildings, which is perfect. If Ground War is going to succeed, they need to have more maps that are a little bit more open, less buildings to camp in and hide in constantly. It'll just lead to a better experience. This is a good transition right into my next part that I absolutely hate about this game is Ground War. I don't hate the game mode of Ground War, I hate the decisions they made in making the game mode. Why are tanks so prevalent in a run and gun video game? The tanks are brainless. They take literally no skill, unless, I mean, as long as you have 2 hands, 1 hand, a toe, a face, anything that you could press a mouse with or press a button on your controller with, you can do just fine in a tank. I guess that's kind of the point, but I think there should be less of them, and I think they should have substantial delays on respawns. I think it should be 2 or 3 minutes for a tank where we just don't have to deal with it on the map. And you could, if you want to wait for like 3 minutes for it to respawn, fine, I guess that's fair. But I think they should have like 1, maybe 2 tanks, and I think they should have massive respawns. I think that would help immensely, because I can't tell you how many games, well, it's every game, where the tanks will go up on the goddamn cliff on Karst River Valley, and they will sit there the entire game if you have no one dealing with them constantly. They will just shoot down into every objective and ruin your game. You have to be so mindful of them that it ruins the rest of the flow of the game, because you're always thinking about this stupid metal thing up on the hill destroying your entire team. I think the River Valley Ground War map would actually be very good had it not been for the tanks that completely throw off that entire map. There's 2 last things that I want to cover. I want to briefly mention how bad the spawns are in this game. It kind of plays into the map design in a way, but the spawns are seriously so unbelievably bad in most game modes. Before, it was kind of a rarity in COD that you would spawn line of sight with someone on the enemy team, but it happens almost every single game in Ground War, which sometimes it's your own fault and sometimes it's completely the game's fault. And it even happens frequently in games like Domination on pretty much every map. In fact, I would say that if I'm playing every single day, it is rare that I have a day where I don't spawn line of sight of someone, or damn near line of sight, as in like he's 2 inches around a corner and he's rounding it as I spawn, so technically he didn't see me spawn, but he sees me a 1/10 of a second after I do. They need to put in like 300 to 400% more spawn points in this game. If there's half of the enemy team in your spawn and you're still spawning there, that is a problem. There is typically like 1 or 2 alternate spawns that you sometimes will get in Domination if they're heavily pushed in. Sometimes you'll spawn to the right of where you're being spawn camped, or to the left. Even when you have B flag and your home flag, you never spawn B flag. Only rarely will you get a forward spawn in Domination. I don't quite understand the point of getting 2 flags out of the 3 and still spawning 75 meters behind your home flag, because, you know, you're supposed to kind of dominate the enemy, and you would think that would mean that because you went out of your way to get the middle flag, that you would maybe get a spawn closer to the middle flag. That's just kind of how map control works, like in any other Call of Duty. I don't get why they only put a couple spawns in the entire map. It doesn't make sense to me. You know how aggravating it is respawning in the exact same place down to a foot of where you spawned last time, 10 times in a row throughout the course of a match? It's awful. The last thing I want to mention is they seriously need to figure out some weapon balancing. The fact that the M4 was nerfed even since the beta into the release of the game, and then was still 10 times better than any other gun in the game, and then they nerfed it again, and it's still 5 times better than any other gun in the game after 2 nerfs technically. How the hell? That gun has got to be one of the best guns they've ever made. Every single lobby you play, I would say 70% of the enemy team are using M4s exclusively. Not to mention, half of them have overkill with the 7.25. The 7.25, I don't even need to explain how crazy that gun is. It is so mind-blowingly overpowered. I know they just nerfed it, but guess what? The nerf did nothing. People are still rocking it. It still one hits from half a kilometer away. It's still currently probably one of the best shotguns in Call of Duty history after it's been nerfed. I just can't believe it. It completely ruins the flow of the game when you have guns like that are the only two guns that people use. I'm hoping once they tune the game a little bit more, some other guns are able to shine a little bit more and you actually have a chance at using them. But as it stands right now, there's almost no point in using anything but those two. Pistols suck, snipers are completely outclassed, most submachine guns are decent but not even close to compared to some of the ARs, and then there's like 3 top ARs that are just insta-kills. To end on a tiny positive note here, the game has not been out that long and they've already put out new maps for free, which is a fantastic sign that we might actually get continuous content. I'm hoping we get continuous maps, changes to the meta, stuff like that, new guns potentially. Nothing that we have to pay for. I've already paid $60 for the game. I don't need to pay more. And on top of the fact that I've already mentioned, they have nerfed multiple things. They've changed things. They have tried to work with some of the spawns. They've fixed some of the glitches involving the created class and challenges. They've actively been fixing and adjusting things so far. I know it's really early, but I just wanted to share my thoughts from playing from the first day of release till now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe to this channel if you're brand new. Drop a like, man. Come on. And if you play the game, let me know what you think. I probably missed some things. Let me know. Thanks for watching. Peace.